How can I be a good daughter-in-law? Wow, what a blessed thing to ask. Welcome once again to Ask Me Tuesday on the Truth Booth, and I'm going to draw out one of your questions and answer it as best as I can and as quickly as I can. How can I be a good daughter-in-law? So how can you be a good daughter-in-law? Oh my goodness. Well, I have a really amazing daughter-in-law, so I can think of some things that she does that makes her a good daughter-in-law. The first thing that comes to my mind is for you to actually be expressing your love and thankfulness for her, your thankfulness that she gave you this man, that she poured herself into. Words of encouragement are so important, even to us old ladies. So be sure that you actually verbalize from a heart that means it, the things that you appreciate. Another thing I would say is give her the benefit of the doubt. Would you? Give her the benefit of the doubt. And don't force her into this box where she has to be perfect. You know, you're going to see her flaws. You're going to see her struggle with just letting go of her son. You're going to see her struggle with aging and not maybe feeling like she's needed anymore. You know, and when we go through those struggles, even though we're adults and we should know better, a lot of times we don't know why we're struggling. So it just comes out in maybe little snippy words, or maybe comes out in an action that isn't quite nice. You know, give her the benefit of the doubt and give her grace, and don't expect her to be perfect. You're going to be there while she's walking through those emotions of figuring out how to be a good mother-in-law, not mother, but mother-in-law. So give her the benefit of the doubt, pour grace on her, and let her be human, okay? Then I would say is to make a practice to pray for your mother-in-law, that you are really dedicated to praying for her. Because have you noticed what happens when we just really fixate ourselves on praying for somebody? We just really begin to have a compassion and a love like nothing else when we pray for somebody. So I would say pray, and to resist that temptation to pray over all the things that we don't like about her and that she changes. No, just pray in humility over your mother-in-law, and I really believe that's going to change a lot in your heart. Perhaps you already completely love your mother-in-law, so pray for her too. Pray and ask God how to bless her. For a lot of women, it's very difficult for them to let go of their sons. It's a really tough thing because she's been their kind of life giver for a long time, depending on what that relationship is like. So, you know, another thing you can do to be a good daughter-in-law is to recognize that this is a difficult thing for a lot of women, and someday you may experience it too. But it's a difficult thing to let go of your son. One of the don'ts, I would say, is fight against it and don't harbor jealousy. I know that sounds so weird to say, but that you're not harboring any kind of jealousy with her, and that you're not forcing your husband to make choices between her and you. Lay it down. Just lay it down. Obviously, there's going to be some situations where a man isn't actually leaving his parents, his mother, and cleaving to his wife. I'm not talking about those extreme situations. I'm just talking about daily life. Don't ask him to choose between her and you. Be a peacemaker and filled with humility, and actually be the one who's making the suggestion to do things for his mother, to spend time with his mother, that maybe the two of you spend time with her and love on her. Now, I know one thing that a lot of people wrestle with is feeling kind of like a division between your mother and your mother-in-law, and not wanting to hurt your mother by your new relationship with your mother-in-law. And that gets a little tricky too. So I would say, you know, take the time to sit down with your mother and ask her advice. Ask her to be a part of this. Like, hey, I want to be a good daughter-in-law. How do you feel like you did as a daughter-in-law? What could you have done better as a daughter-in-law? Help me know how to be a good daughter-in-law. bring your mom into it and just say, be honest. You know, if you have a good relationship with your mom and you're worried about there being a little tension there, just be honest and say, I love you, Mom, and I don't want my pursuit of a relationship with his mom to in any way interfere or seem competitive between us. I just want to get that out there, and I really want your help because I want to be a good daughter-in-law. Help me do that. I think that's going to help that tension you might feel there. And I guess that lastly, just off the top of my head, what I would say is the best way to be a good daughter-in-law is to take care of her son. Take care of him. Love him. Serve him. Go out of your way for him. Don't take advantage of him. Don't manipulate him. Like I said, don't pit him against his mother. Don't want to do that. But by being a good wife, you are loving on your mother-in-law. Show her how much you love him. Show her how much you respect her for what she poured into him, and even ask her advice. I mean, I know that in this day and time that seems so weird that you would go to your mother-in-law and ask her advice. But you know what? In good relationships, things like that can certainly work. I know when I say it, there's going to be a lot of eye rolling, you know, because we just don't do that kind of thing. Well, we don't do that kind of thing because of our pride, but we should be doing a lot more of that kind of thing. And boy, talk about winning over a mother-in-law, because you just erased all that competition. You erased all that feeling of like, we don't need you anymore. You just took a big fat eraser and erased it. So don't be afraid to do things that are unconventional like that. If you have a good relationship and you're wanting to build a good relationship, why not? Well, that's as much as I can think of right now, but I just love you for asking that question, and helps a lot of other daughter-in-laws to know how to love on and their mother-in-law and how to be a good daughter-in-law. Okay, see you next time.